Amazing conversation. I believe we're going to have a great time together. Okay. And we have, well, my name is Austin. Um, please feel free to use the chat to send your questions to myself directly. I'll be happy to take them. I have Yebanji here and I have Funke here. They're going to introduce themselves, but before that, I just want to do a little prayer. Of course, we are Christians. This program is brought to you by Kabod Chapel in Rugby, United Kingdom. And I thank God for this wonderful time. Let's just have a quick and short prayer. Father, we thank you for this amazing time, for bringing us together to have this conversation discussing the emotional, intelligent parent. We thank you for the wisdom that you have bestowed in our speaker, the life of our guest, and all those that will be contributing this morning. Lord, we pray that we have something of value to hold on to in this program, that you speak through us in Jesus' name. And that, oh God, that you take all the glory and the end of it all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Praise God. Hallelujah. Okay, Yebanji, you can mute yourself. Funke, you can unmute yourself. And then who should we take for? Let's go with Yebanji. No, let's go with who wants to introduce first? Who is going first? Funke, Yebanji.
I really don't mind going first. It's absolutely fine.
Okay, Yebanji, go, take it out.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning. It's a privilege to be invited to speak on this program, and I'm really grateful, and I don't take it for granted, to be honest. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kabod. Thank you, Mr. Austin, as well. And hello everyone. My name is Yabanji. I am a psychotherapist. And I am also a mom. I'm a wife. I've got 4 children. So I believe I'm here today to speak from the perspective of a psychotherapist, and also from the perspective of being a mom as well. Talking about my psychotherapy approach, I would call myself a humanistic existential integrative psychotherapist, and I'm going to break it down for you. What
Please.
this means is I see humans as unique, yeah, and we're all unique beings, and we've got different parts of ourselves that makes us a whole person, and that makes us our own individual. Yeah. So that's how I see people. And I also, when it comes to the existential part of it, I believe that at some point we're asking questions, looking for purpose. Why am I here? Searching for fulfillment. And for me, that's very important to me, because I've had this experience, personal experiences in my own life. I've had periods where I've had to ask questions like, why am I here? What's my purpose? So me being able to embrace all of the parts of me, my spirituality, my race, every part of me makes me unique. And that's how I respond to my clients as well. I see them as unique. I try and take myself out of myself and approach my therapy through being empathic, by trying to understand who my clients are that sat down in front of me. So that's my approach to life. I support people by trying to, understand their past, and understanding what's going on for them at present as well. Because for me, I believe even in my own life, my past has got a huge influence on who I am today. Yeah. So yes, I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm also a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 4 children, ranging from ages 16 to 8. So thank you very much for having me.
Excellent, excellent. I think we'll be having a further conversation on human uniqueness, and then the empathy part. That's I mean, your experience, the work you do, is going to be very, very key part of our conversation today. I'm sure we're going to bring all of those to light as we commence in this conversation. Okay, let's meet Funke.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Kabod Chapel. Thank you to the pastors, the ministers, to the church member, and to yourself, the host. Thank you for having me. Lovely to see you as well, Sister Yebenji, that we're co sort of ministering together. I'll try not to be too churchy in today's conversation. My name is Funke Ogunoiki. I'm a social work team manager. I'm a pastor, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I wear so many hats, I must let you know. So when I'm at a different program, I try to separate some of them to say, no, I'm here as a social worker. I'm not here as a pastor. I try as much, but I notice that it's quite difficult sometimes to do that because I'm still one person. So I'm a social work team manager. So what that means is I oversee social workers in children's services. I oversee a number of social workers. I support social workers to undo complex and sensitive family situations, children's situation, young people's situation, ranging from 0 to 18, any issues that families are going through, whether it's a need of their child, in any way you can name it, parenting, any neurodevelopmental need, domestic violence, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional difficulties, social difficulties, you name it, anything about children, young people, my role, due to I've been working for 15 years. So due to me working in this field for a number of years, I'm able to use my evidence-based practice, my, what do we call it, achieving best evidence. I formally interview children that have been sexually abused with the police. Due to my years of training and some training that I've done, and also signs of safety, solution focused, restorative. I do all that within my role. I'm also something we call practice educator. So I'm a gatekeeper to social workers coming into the field. So for anybody that wants to be a social worker, I sort of oversee their practice to ensure that they've ticked off you name it, all the boxes. I'm a mom of three. My children, my biological children, by the grace and mercy of God, they range from age 7 to 2. So I've got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Yes, wow. I am married, happily married to Pastor Adebola Ogunaki. Thank you so much for having me. Any question, please feel free to comment. I think I can see my biological sister online, Sister Debbie. Lovely to see you online.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I think you guys, I didn't really know you've got so much on your CV. Wow. Okay. I believe we will bring you back on this program, for all that kind of conversation, because you got a wealth of knowledge. All right, let's just start right away. I think we've got like 1 hour or 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I will try to stay within that time, 1 hour, 30 minutes, so it's not too long. Okay, we're on YouTube. I'm not sure, we're not on Instagram right now. We're only on YouTube. Yeah, and then on Zoom. So you can invite your family and friends to join us. We're going to have a very, very wonderful conversation. All right, let me start. Okay, I think I will start with you, Banji, with this question. I mean, I've listened to you both, and I can see you've got a long resume. All right, Yebanji, who is an emotionally intelligent parent?
Okay. Thank you for asking that question. That is what the topic is about today, to be honest, an emotional intelligent parent. Before going to an emotional intelligent parent, what I'll first talk a bit about is an emotional intelligent person. Yeah. So an emotional intelligent person is one that has got the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and effectively use emotions in themselves and others.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an emotional intelligent parent is someone that recognizes and understands their own emotions and how this impacts their interactions with their own child. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's clear enough or.
It's clear. It's clear. Yes. I think I'll ask same question. So sometimes I'll ask one question and can ask follow-on question from that. So just bear with me. And if you got questions from within the audience, you can either raise your hand or send us questions on the chat. And Prof from the back end, Prof will help me, and she can send those questions to me in one way or the other, just in case I can't really find them on the chart. All right, let me ask same question to Funke, who is an emotionally intelligent parent. Don't mind repeating what has been said, just in your own way, please. Yeah, you're on mute.
Sorry, I didn't realize. Okay. So like it was said already, that is about parents recognizing their own emotions and then recognizing and responding to their children's emotion. I'd like to add to that. An emotional intelligent parent also constitute about at least 4 things: self-awareness of your own emotion as a parent, whether you're a mom or dad, a grandma, a granddad, or a carer, a parent within the church capacity, self-awareness of your own emotion, self-management of your own emotion, social awareness of how you then relate with your children, and also relationship management, how you manage relationship. So as well as being aware of your own emotion as a parent or carer, you must have that self-awareness, one, self-management of your emotion, social awareness of how you relate with others and your children, and then relationship management. So it encompasses a lot of things when we talk about emotional intelligence.
Okay, excellent. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I can hear you both talking about awareness, okay? Being aware of your emotion as a parent, right? Understanding other people's emotion, okay? And then recognizing their emotions, all right? Not just you as a parent, others. And others can be the people you work with, right? Others can be, of course, as a parent, your children, right? Your spouse, right? Yeah. So understanding their emotions, and everyone has got a journey in emotions. In fact, this morning I remember that emotion, I think I've seen this in a book somewhere years ago. I can't remember, but I've seen a book that talked about emotion as an emotion. From the word emotion is always moving. All right. Emotion, always moving, changing. All right. So, okay, let's carry on. Um, Let me ask Funke then, Yebanji can add to this. What are some ways parents can recognize their own emotions?
Yeah, so like we said, that recognizing your aim and emotion, I think one of the ways that parents can recognize their own emotion is to sort of label the emotion, notice label your, if you're feeling frustrated, say you're feeling stressed. So learn to label your emotion, and also learn to know your triggers, So how you can recognize your emotion, learn to name them. Like, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling disappointed. Oh, I know sometimes people from my background probably they struggle with description of emotions. Apart from, oh, I'm angry, oh, I'm sad, I'm upset. Sometimes we need to sort of increase our vocabulary of naming our emotion. And recognizing emotion is also observing how your emotions affect others. So observe how people within your network, starting from your home, of course, how your emotions affect others. So how you can recognize your own emotion, you label your emotion. You look into the triggers, what triggers you to feel frustrated, to feel happy, to feel excited, and also observe how your emotion affect other people. Some people have that cognizant, their own emotional, like their own person can impact on other people around them. So observe how your emotion, and also spot the first sign of stress. Spot the sign of stress. That is a big thing for everyone, regardless of our chronological age, for us to always spot the sign of stress or spot the sign of anything around you, really.
Yeah, excellent. So I think there are a lot of things you said there. All right. Um, before I move to where I've got some notes, when you speak, I take notes. All right. So, Imagine, do you want to add something to that, or I just move to the next?
Yeah, if I can add something to that. Yeah, you're perfectly correct. It's important that we're, aware of on emotions and able to label it. Like Funke said, honestly, background culture really has a lot of impact on us. And, we, like a few of us here are from Nigeria, and, the culture is, maybe growing up, children are probably seen and not heard, and we're not used to saying how we feel. But it's very important for us to, even if we've not grown that way, we need to teach and reteach ourselves and relearn. And that's the thing about growth. It's about noticing yourself, being aware of what you need to improve on to be better for yourself. And that is life, that is growth. Now, also apart from labeling, apart from labeling your emotions, speak about triggers, noticing your triggers. How can you notice your triggers? When I think you can do this by having mental checkups, emotional checkups. As the day goes by, notice yourself. How am I feeling right now? You know, am I feeling stressed? Have I even had time to sit down to have a cup of coffee or tea or whatever? Have I even, as the day goes by, not at the end of the day, because a lot of times we wait till the end of the day, then we're overwhelmed, and then we're burnt out, and then we start responding, probably being cranky when our children come up to us, ask us a question, or we're just all over the place. But if we're able to take minutes during the day to just be mindful about how am I feeling right now. I've not even sat down, I've not had a little break. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, let me sit down, let me slow things down. I know how important our jobs are. We're probably very busy people and all of that. But helping yourself to notice your emotional status or your mental status as the day goes by would help you to be more productive at the end of the day. And when it comes to productivity, yes, maybe normally you're going on a marathon and you're doing everything you need to do, but being productive can vary, or it depends on what you see as being productive. Because yes, you can end up achieving everything you want to achieve, but at the end of the day, have you served your own self? Have you served your body? And at the end of the day, it's going to show in you. Either it's going to show the way you're responding to your children. You might be there for them, but you might not really be listening to them because you're very, very tired. Or it might even show in your health as well. So it's important for us to slow down during the day, find time to sit down, take a minute, do what makes you, do what makes is comfortable for you. Be mindful, have moments where you're when I say mindful, be mindful. You can use your five senses to be mindful. If you're having a cup of tea or coffee, taste it, savor the taste of it, enjoy it. Sit down and have that cup of tea or coffee. If you're eating, enjoy your food as you're eating. Don't rush. You need to just eat. I need to just do this. And you're not really serving yourself properly. So notice yourself. Notice what's going on around you. Take mindful walks. As the day goes, as you're going through the day, do check-ins with yourself and help yourself by giving yourself what you need at a particular point in time. So that's what I would like to add to that.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I can see my 11 plus teacher raising her hands. I hope, yeah, she is.
Yeah, I am. Good morning,
I'll-
everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. So I'll come to you in a minute. I trust you have something for me. Now she
No, I
mentioned
actually have a question. Yeah.
you have a no, okay, I will take your question. Just a minute. Yebanji and Funke mentioned background and culture. We should learn to label our emotion, okay? And also to teach our children to label their emotion, okay? Sometimes you hear children say, I'm feeling bored. It's good. Not so, I mean, from where I came from, I never heard, it was when I came into the UK, I started to hear children telling us, I'm feeling bored, which is good, confident. They are confident to let us know how they feel, which is great. Now, I think Sister Funke also mentioned, observe your emotion, how your emotion affects other people. I think, yeah, I took that note. You talked about mental checkups, taking breaks, and a whole lot. You talked about, Funke also mentioned about emotion triggers, and next you expanded on that as well. Yebanji, thank you very much. It's going to be a very long topic, a long conversation, and interesting. All right. Let me take my 11 plus teacher, Sister Fumi. Let me take your question.
Okay, sorry, good morning, everyone.
Good
Okay.
morning.
I wasn't sure if to ask question now or wait till the end, but anyways, I'll just ask it now.
That's fine.
So, thank you, Mrs. Ogunoike and Mrs. Miraibo as well. Really appreciate this. I think this is a very important, topic. So whilst you're talking about, and I think it was actually Sister Funke, Pastor Funke that said that. So talking about how we can, manage our emotions and all that, and also trying to, maybe tell our children or show our children how we're feeling just so that they can understand our emotions. Now, thinking about background as well and our culture, and which is why I'm really talking about this, because it's back to culture and background. So many parents worry that showing their emotions to their children, especially feelings like sadness, frustration, or vulnerability, might be seen as a weakness, and it could make their children feel a bit insecure. So now, how can parents strike a balance between being open about their emotions and maintaining a sense of stability and strength for their children? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think it's going to be one of the questions that we are going to take. You can say it again, just so it can be clearer.
Oh, okay. So now thinking about our culture, thinking about where we're coming from,
Yeah.
okay, and how, as parents, we might feel that showing our sadness, showing our vulnerability to our children is a feeling of weakness. So how can we as parents kind of balance between being open about our emotions and maintaining a sense of stability and strength for our children?
Can I say something?
Okay, yeah, Banji, take it.
So one of the things I was actually going to talk about, was acknowledging imperfection. I think parents, I don't know where this comes from. Maybe it's part of what has been projected or something. We put a lot of expectations on ourselves and our children, and create the scenario whereby our children see us as perhaps superheroes or perfect. But the thing is, we are actually not perfect people. And being an emotional, intelligent parent is actually recognizing when you're feeling out of control or making a mistake, and being open enough to be able to improve on them. And when we model this to our children, they can understand even imperfection in themselves as well. Like, I've made this mistake and it's okay. I'll talk about it, and then how can I move forward from it? If we're able to model this to our children, it also shows strength. It shows strength that, dude, I'm not perfect. But then if we feel like, if we act like we're perfect and all of that, then we're not helping those children, because when they're actually struggling, they won't be able to come up to us honestly to be able to talk to us about their feelings and their struggles. Just, but obviously they're age bound, you can't be telling the same things you tell someone that's 3 years old or 2 years old and someone that is a teenager or is older. But modeling, I think, is very, very important. Us being able to say, sorry, I got it wrong. Us being able to show our emotions. Like, I get angry sometimes, yes. Okay, but I'm able to go back and sit down and reflect on why did I respond that way, even to my children and everything. I can go back and apologize to them as well and say, sorry, I reacted that way, but blah, 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 maybe because of blah, blah, whatever reason, yeah? And we can now talk about it again in a more civil way. So being able to come and acknowledge our imperfections, I think that's a strength. I don't know if I was able to answer that.
Yeah.
Can I comment as well, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to chip in. I don't know if Sister Bimbo can help us out. There is something called emotion wheel. Emotion wheel. I think every sort of parent from, we say global majority. Every parent from a global majority background will probably benefit from reading, looking at like emotional wheel. One thing I want to say is that everyone has feelings. Having feelings is not a weakness. But coming from, there's a cultural aspect and also there's a faith aspect to this. Because when scriptures say be anxious for nothing, the word of God knows that we do get anxious, but some parents, because of our spiritual, some of us, depending on our maturity in our faith, we don't even want to express the feeling that I am feeling anxious, I am feeling scared. You don't want to label that. You don't even want children to know that you feel scared. I want to say that striking a balance is ensuring that children know that we have different ranges of feelings. All feelings are not just the positive side of feelings. That is what a lot of an average parent wants to project. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling happy. As a pastor feel frustrated, feel concerned. I'm feeling disappointed. So it's good to and you can also, if your children don't even understand language, say that, oh, it appears that, you look a little bit concerned there. Or is that quite challenging for you? It's not to then dismiss that feeling. Of course, it's not the ins and outs of your feelings that you're going to share with your child, regardless of their age range, but learning to strike a balance to say, yes, we've got the positive sort of emotion, the sort of and I think sometimes it can come across as a shock. I will share an example, a personal example. When I started having children, when my daughter was around age 2 or something, she said to me that, oh, I am feeling angry. The first thing that came to my mind, or even though I had all the textbook knowledge, I was like, Bible says that the anger of woman being does not produce the righteousness of God. My mind was already having scriptural to say, be slow to anger. Oh, I already have so many scriptural things in my head that was just coming pumping. But then I learned to say, hang on a minute, my daughter needs to learn to label how she was feeling. I needed to own it, to say, actually, she is feeling angry. Let me acknowledge that. Let me do something let me unpick why she was feeling angry. And then I said, okay, she needs to see that actually it's not a weakness for even mommy or daddy to feel frustrated. How we express it in our body language is another thing, but labeling it in a balanced way, children need to see that it is not unusual to have a wide range of emotions, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. While you're giving us those examples, let's not bring it to in the Christendom, all right? Now, sometimes we don't like to say those negative words, right? Sometimes we don't like to say the way they are, because we don't want, we are careful, right? And then we just drop all those words. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm not happy. When Christians say they are happy, I'm feeling happy. Sometimes they say positive things, but they actually mean the negative. All right. If they don't have money, they are broke. They can't say they are broke. They say, I'm rich. All right. So it's kind of a bit, sometimes I think, oh, are we not, the question I ask is, are we not confusing the you are an adult, right? You have been in this Christian setting home for a long time, and then you can swing between using the positive words and then in a manner that the other person will understand you what you're saying. Oh, I'm rich, but they know that you don't really have money with you. You understand what I'm saying? So the question now is, at what point should we say how it is? Okay, I think Funke might be able. Yes, I know you're going to.
Yeah, I think it's really important for us to be factual. And can I just say, Austin, what you said is actually spot on. I have also experienced that. I think about 13 years ago or so, or 15 years, I can't remember exact point. I was feeling unwell. That was factual. I was feeling unwell. And I remember saying to my manager at the time that I'm feeling really strong. I said, I need to go home. I'm really feeling really strong. And he looked at me and said, hang on a minute. You're feeling strong and you're saying you need to go home. You're not making sense. But I didn't actually realize that I wasn't making sense. I was like, no, I'm feeling really, really strong. I really need to go home. And then he said, no, Funke, you're not making sense. You're not under the weather. I said, actually, let me be factual. I am unwell. I am experiencing migraine. I really can't concentrate on the computer. I'm not able to work. And then he said, okay, go home. But upon reflection, I reflected on my choice of words to say, hang on a minute, I wasn't factual. And this was to do with my faith because the scripture says in Job 22:28, whatsoever you declare shall be established. But that is when maybe we are hiding, etc. But it is so important that we are factual on how we're feeling. That is a step to get like freedom, deliverance, help. There are people that genuinely they are in need or their child require help. But because of the household they grew up, you say, is everything okay? I am well, we're okay. But they're actually genuinely in need. If we're not careful, if a child is feeling unwell, feeling extremely exhausted, they're not going to be able to express it because they're like, well, in this household, we are always physically well. Name those feelings. Talk about the factual things. It doesn't mean that you are confessing those things to happen, but any factual things that we're experiencing, name them. If you're having goal setting as well, name them to say, this is what I want to do, not to say, by next year, I'm going to have £1 million in my account. You've got to be realistic and be factual about what we say. We must learn to be factual and name how we're feeling. It doesn't stop you from praying though, to say, I am feeling tired. Lord, give me strength. Oh, I don't know. Fiona, Sharon, I am really low in money. Oh, we need help here. So name them and still be positive in terms of praying, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Thank you so much. I think that was an internet breakout at some point.
Can I add something to that briefly?
Yeah.
I'm coming from the spiritual aspect as well. When I read my Bible, I notice some parts in the Bible where I feel Jesus showed some certain emotions as well. When, for instance, when Lazarus died,
he wept.
And Mary and Martha, and Jesus was very empathic because Jesus wept because he saw how the Jews and the Mary and Martha, they were all upset, and he felt that sadness. That was sadness, deep sadness, grief. But did it mean that Jesus did not have faith in God? No, he knew that God could do it, and he knew God was going to do it. So he had faith, but he did not change the fact that he was still sad that happened, but he had faith. Also, when it comes to when Jesus was in Gethsemane, when it was going to be crucified, and he said, he prayed to God to let the cup run over him. I see that as anxiety. He was feeling anxious at that point in time. But then he went and said this prayer, and he said, God, if you can pass over me, please let it pass over me. But if not, let your will be done. And he did. He went and did the prayer, and eventually God helped him. And obviously, he died for us and everything. But the fact was that Jesus felt anxious, and that cannot be. To me, that's anxiety. When I read that part, I see that and I notice that. Yeah. So we can feel anxious, but what was Jesus' coping mechanism? Prayer. And it goes to how do we cope when you're feeling all of these emotions inside of us? When Jesus prayed, he thanked God and he prayed, that was his coping mechanism. And then there was his faith and all of those other things. Yeah. So scripture, and I think everything is it intersects, integrates itself, our spirituality, our response in real life and everything. To me, as a Christian psychotherapist, everything blends for me. And yes, I can name my emotions and all, but also how do I cope when all these things pop up and all that? How do I cope? And I think that's what we should really think about and help our children to understand.
Super. That's beautiful. I like that example. It's really great. Let me move to the next question. All right. Okay, this is about when parents are stressed. I think we've mentioned something like, in that direction today. When they are stressed, what techniques can they use to manage their emotions at stressful times? Yeah, Banji, I'm sure you've spoken about self-awareness today. You've talked about um, how they need to check in themselves. I think you mentioned that. Yeah, you can help in that line. Do you want to? Yeah, carry on.
Now, I think when we're stressed, number one, like Stephen said earlier on, we need to notice our triggers.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to be self-aware. And self-aware is a long life thing. No one is perfect. Situations happen that can make us respond in different ways and all of that. But being able to, like I said earlier on, to have mental check-ins, mindfulness is so important. Mindfulness is you using all of your senses to be aware of what's going on around you. Notice, you can use your sight to just, if you're feeling anxious, mindfulness is very important and very useful. It's a useful tool to sit down, and it helps us to self-regulate, by using our senses of touch, maybe taste, smell, it grounds us, brings us back to the moment. Then we can take walks, just 5 minutes walk, just pulling ourselves away from that situation that is making us stressful at that point in time. And if you're aware of, okay, this maybe at work or you're at home and you've had a very stressful day, or you're having a stressful day, it's important to sit down and pull back a bit and give yourself that minute that you need, then come back to it. Because if you keep on going on, you're not going to be as productive as you can be. But allowing yourself that 5-10 minutes break and then going back to it would help you to be, more productive. And you could if you're at home, you could have a bath if you want to. You could call a friend, someone you trust to talk to. Those are the, simple things. You could write a journal. You could, journal your thoughts, your feelings, and all of that. You could read a book. You could take breathing exercises.
Oh, Yebanji, can you unmute yourself, please?
Did you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the point of all of what I've said is just you to notice yourself, notice what you need for yourself at that point in time,
Yeah.
but you're feeling very stressed, and taking yourself away from it, and then being able to give yourself what you need, then come back to whatever it is that you need to do. Even if it's a stressful situation. For instance, if your children have come and told you something very, scary and all of that, sometimes we might respond. We need to notice how we're responding to things as well. Our reactions, like, what have you just said? That would definitely affect them as well.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to be aware of how we're responding to something.
So now stress can actually come from within the family.
Mm-hmm.
It could be from the children. It could be from the spouse, right? So what you're telling me, I should learn to I could hear you say, learn to walk away, right? Walk away. Now, if it's coming from the spouse, learn to walk away because that will actually affect my response anyway, all right? If the other person is creating or causing the stress, okay, learn to take a moment. Don't just immediately respond because it could lead to a worse situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just be quiet, walk away from that situation, take a walk, okay? Do a bit of reflection, all right? Then come back to respond. All right. Do you have anything to add? Okay.
Yeah, and can I just say that is the fruit of the spirit right there. That is meekness, strength under control. Because you might not be physically able to walk away, but you're still within that environment. That is you building strength under control. Something you've got power to do, but you're making a choice not to react. You're pausing rather than react. I just wanted to add in terms of techniques. Definitely, I agree with everything Sister Yebenji has said. She mentioned about reaching out to people. This is something I'm very big on. You can't do life alone. You can't do life alone. You must have people within your network that you can talk to about the situation for a fresh view. Anything that is causing you stress, always find people that you have within your network that you can unpick that situation. There is nothing shameful, embarrassing that it has never, there's nothing peculiar that has never happened in this life. So have people within your network that you consider safe for you, that under no circumstances would they be breaching your confidentiality. Have the people within your network that you can speak to that can give you fresh insight. And like sister, pause before reacting. Pause, that is meekness right there. And give yourself time to think if you are able to think, and learn to breathe. I am not a fan of people that WhatsApp warrior. They go, because keyboard warrior, they call them. If somebody react to you, breathe, don't respond. In your house, your children may do something that frustrate you, and some parent, with the first thing they want to do is to their natural reaction. Come on, breathe. In social work, we always say that as parent, you have to be mindful how you respond to your children. You are the adults. Learn to respond positively as much as you can in terms of reacting to, because children will bring stressful situation. As adults is where we must remember we also trigger stressful situation to perhaps our other half we don't even realize, or people within our network. So we need to know that it's vice versa. So pause before reacting, give yourself time to think. Always remember to not do life alone. Always have people within your network that can give you fresh insight. I didn't even know the Sister Yebenji has got this. She's coming from a psychotherapy background. So imagine, tap into people's specialism, people's skills, something that is causing stressful situation. You may tell somebody now that is the solution already, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we all go through stressful situation. Nobody is exempted from this. There are situations that we all go through. It's about, having the resilience, being able to, that coping mechanism that comes from different areas of life.
All right. We all go through a stressful situation. All right. So we all need to have that coping mechanism. We need to have that strategy to make sure we get ourselves out of such situation at every point in time. Okay. You also mentioned something that, it's a vice versa thing for us to, we can cause our spouse stress or our children stress, and it's vice versa, not just from the out in, could be from in out. All right. All right. We are doing well. We're doing well. I have a question here. Someone is asking, in challenging moments, when a parent feels frustrated or overwhelmed, how can parents model emotional intelligence for their child rather than letting those emotions escalate? I'll read that again. In challenging moments, when the parent feels frustrated, overwhelmed, how can parents model emotional intelligence for their child rather than letting their emotions escalate, rather than allowing their emotion to overrun them? That question, okay, we'll get to that point. I have a lot of questions I'm going to ask as well. Let me just ask this one. The next question, so that question from that we took from Menti, I'm sure it's part of those questions we have. Is that okay? So should we just continue? All right, let's just carry on. Keep your question coming, Prof. I like that, the way you send it to me. Just keep sending them. All right, let's go. How can parents guide their children to identify and express emotions in a healthy way? Now, yeah, all these questions are actually interwoven, to be honest. How can parents guide their children to identify and express emotions in a healthy way? All right. Yebanji, do you want to take it up?
Okay, is that a question? Next question, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, how can parents guide their children to identify and express emotions, yeah, in a healthy way? Okay. I would say by teaching them the right language, like part of what we've said earlier on, using the right language, encouraging them to talk about their feelings. If they're feeling angry, exhausted, overwhelmed, it's okay, encourage them, you know, in my work with children, when they come in for a session, we give them this form to fill. It's got different faces. It depends on your age, it's got different emotion, happy, sad, whatever it is. And they circle which one they're feeling at that point in time. And we encourage them to talk about why did you pick this, and talk about it and all of that. So yes, it's very, very important to encourage your children to label their feeling, guide them through their emotions. Now, when they're upset, help them understand that all feelings are normal, but their responses can be managed. For example, it's okay to feel angry, but hitting someone isn't the way to show it. And let's talk about other ways we can express, ourselves and all of that. Now, teaching them problem solving techniques as well. Once emotions are recognized and validated, you can guide your child towards finding a solution. Ask questions like, what do you think we can do to fix this? This also teaches empowering that child, to think critically and also handle their emotions, in a more better, you're helping them to think, to reflect on their actions and why they've chosen whatever behavior is that they decide to display, and encourage them to think about which other options could they have chosen if they hit on. And it's not just negative as well. If your child also shows positive emotions and do positive things, enforce that as well, because not just all negatives. Part of parent, a lot of children lose confidence when we're only trying to correct them about or the probably negative emotion. Well, I won't say any emotion is negative, but negative response that they have and all that. But if we're able to also notice when they're being empathic towards the younger ones, or when they're being helpful, or when they're being kind, or we should also label them, name them, and let them notice that they responded in such ways.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, you mentioned something about response, how to express. Now, don't hit back. Okay. When you're angry as a child, okay, don't eat back. No, don't eat or throw tantrums, or teach them to take the right action. All right. Discuss, talk about it. You also talk about something that I took note of, is that you should comment when there are positive emotions. They've showed kindness at some point that you are actually labeled right. Then make comment, talk about it, encourage them, right, to keep on that right trajectory, which is great. Thank you so much. Funke, you want to say something?
Yes, I agree with those points. I also wanted to say that as much as adults also we learn to know our triggers, we also need to observe what our children's triggers are, whether it's for positive emotions or one that may not look positive. So when we notice them, we also let them know. And also, way too that we can guide our children to express their emotion is ask your children open-ended question. That way they learn to sort of identify their emotion, manage their emotion, label it. And I'm going to give an example just to bring it alive. So rather than for you to just ask your child or your children, your young person, did you have a good day today? You can say, what was the most interesting thing about your day today? What was the most challenging thing about your day today? What was your favorite part of your day today? And I actually get a lot from my children when I ask that question, that what was the most challenging thing about your day today? What was the most stressful thing about your day today? What did you like about your day today? What went well about your day? This is only for children, by the way. You can ask your spouse similar question, that what was rather only the close question. When we ask close question, there's no how way that you will know somebody emotional triggers. There's no how that the person will be able to name them. You know, you want to know your children so that you can support them to manage their emotion, identify. So when you say, so what was the most interesting thing about happened today? So what do you like about that, friend? What is most, you get what I mean? What is most concerning? So ask open-ended question in terms of you having conversation, and learn another way to help children to express and manage or identify the emotion is practice active listening. I see adults when they are talking, they interrupt one another, or their children is talking to, let's say, daddy, for example, another parent will interrupt. Learn active listening. When children are talking to another adult, don't interrupt them. If not, your child also will think that it is okay to interrupt any conversation. When you observe that your child is interrupting, come and say, you know, we are mommy and daddy, or so we're actually we're having a conversation
on this one.
are you able to, sorry, are we able to just mute? If that's okay. Okay. So, you know, we're having a conversation right now. Are you just able to give me 2-3 minutes? Let's just finish that conversation, if that makes sense. So, not interrupting children when they're having and then you telling them they are learning emotional intelligence. And also, whenever children are speaking, or maybe you're speaking to spouse, learn to nod to say that you're actually engaging in that conversation. Children see things like it. When they're talking to you, you're nodding, you're making eye contact. So when they're within the work setting or the nursery, the school, when somebody's having a conversation with them, they will not interrupt. They will be nodding that they are listening. They will be making eye contact. They'll be making eye contact as well, because we see adults, I know that has a cultural element to it, that struggle to make eye contact. But in the Western culture, it's a rude thing that you're not, it doesn't look like you're listening to the conversation. Whereas I know from some culture in Africa, not looking means that you're being respectful. But here is a confident thing when you're not, then when you're making eye contact. So you model that, encourage your children to say, you know, we're having a conversation. It will be helpful for you to look at me so that I can know that you're listening, you're paying attention. Always explain why. The why. I grew up, my generation, that sometimes parents don't explain the why. And that is a parenting style. It doesn't mean all parents have that. So explaining the why, you're asking, is it okay that we do this? Is it okay we do that? Explain that why. Why?
Super. Thank you very much. You mentioned something. You talked about interruption, right? And that's huge. Okay. You can be having conversation with your child and a phone call just comes in. Okay. And you are always being interrupted with a phone call. All right. Let's try as much as possible as parents, okay, to tell if you don't pick that call, you are sending a signal. You are telling the child you are important. That phone call is no more important than yourself. However, if you're expecting a phone call during that conversation, all right, yeah, it's good to talk about it. Tell them, oh, I'm expecting a phone call just in case, all right? So they will know, they are aware that, you know what, a phone call is going to come in. But most times, don't pick the phone. Let them know they are important, all right? Active listening, focus. Okay, now that's what I just picked up. Thank you so much. And one of you, I think you also mentioned about, okay, asking, this is what I picked as well, asking for that question. When, you know, that's a sign that you are actually listening. Ask for that question. Okay, your child is talking to you, try to speak back, ask them a question or make some suggestion. All right.
I'd like to say that when we talk about asking question, when we've listened, it's important that the question we're asking, first of all, we need to reframe what we have heard. When a child or parent or spouse say something, reframe what you've heard to say. You said this, blah, blah, just to confirm. Because sometimes some people don't listen to understand. They just listen to respond. So it's important to say, am I hearing that you are saying this, you are saying that? So you listen, you reframe what you have heard, and then the person says. And emotional intelligence, teaching children about emotion is also not something in our house, our children, they've picked up. And we are very apologetic about it. Not make a conclusion. If you don't know who has done something, don't say that, oh, I know that it is John that has done this. Don't make that conclusion. Though I wonder, I've not been able to find this. I wonder who has done this in this. I wonder where this is. Even in your head, you might be thinking it's John that may have done it. Oh, I wonder. And if you hear a child say, oh, it's because so has done it. Oh, how did you know that person has done it? Oh, can you tell me more? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So because we have adults that they've not, emotional intelligence is a lifelong skill. It's not like everybody has reached it. We have adults that automatically make negative assumption, already conclude. How do you then raise a child not to be having those kind of thought process within their household?
Correct.
If I may also add, sorry, to, I really like when Stephen spoke about being, active listening and trying to paraphrase, and that is so important because paraphrasing means you're trying to understand where that child is coming from. That's being empathic listening, trying to see things from their own shoes. Everything is not about you. And when a child does something, sometimes parents take it as an attack, like they're really hurt because they feel disappointed. And then you're taking it personal because you're not actually seeing the child's frame of reference. You're not seeing things from where that child is coming from. But if we can take ourselves out of it and let's see, okay, this has happened. You responded this way. What were you thinking about? It's not, at the end of the day, as parents, we might take it personal and then respond because, oh, I'm disappointed in you. No, let's flip it. Let's see where that child is coming from. Then what I was just going to add also, making it very the norm to talk about feelings, emotions in the house, having conversations about that, then maintaining privacy. And when I talk about privacy, when it comes to talking about emotions and mental health and stuff like that, look, children are of different ages. And, some people in front of a friend or family gathering, you can just come and talk about a child and say, oh, what you did the other day, what were you thinking? Or, harassing that child basically. And that child might feel very embarrassed. When you want to have certain conversations with your child, let them know you understand them and respect them as well, to be honest. That's being emotional intelligence, not just talking about situations in any kind of situation or any kind of gathering. That's respect. You're mirroring, you're modeling things to them and they can see it and they can respond back in that way to you as well. But for instance, if you go and say something in a family gathering and that child responds in a rude way, well, think about it. Anyways, that was just the point I was going to add.
Excellent. Let's make children feel respected. Great. Thank you so much. I hope I've taken that. I mean, we've answered that question in the question that came in challenging moment when the parent feels frustrated, overwhelmed. How can parent model emotional intelligence for their child rather than letting their emotions escalate? I believe we've answered our questions. If we've not, let's also give opportunity to those in the house that want to make contribution. Please raise your hand and then we can ask you to unmute. If you don't know how to use this feature of raising your hand, you can unmute and just say hi, or you just type a message that you have a contribution. Yes. All right, I'll move to parenting styles, okay? We want to see how significant parenting styles. All right. Okay, before we go to parenting styles, let's take Sister Fumi's contribution. No question, your contribution.
No, it's actually a question.
All right.
So this is a question that actually came to me yesterday at school from a parent. And the parents asked that, so it's just quite interesting that we're talking about it now. Yeah. And he said that, so if he has, if he walks away to calm down, so if he has a conflict with his spouse or a child or his child, and he walks away, that, and then he comes back to them afterwards and they still remain very adamant and unresponsive, okay, that how should he approach the issue again? Now, when he was talking to me, he actually mentioned, he said, look, bear in mind, this is I am very human. Okay, that's so now I'm walking away, I'm trying to calm myself down, and then I've come back, I'm now talking to them politely, that's unresponsive. And I imagine that quite a number of us probably even experience the same thing, you know, and all. So the question is, what's the approach? How does he move from that point? What does he need to do? Thinking about being emotionally intelligent as well.
Mrs. A, don't leave yet. I'm going to, you raised that question. Can you answer that? I know you have an answer. This is your topic before my speakers give their responses. Yes, I want you to, yeah, I'm opening the floor. Sister for me, carry on.
Okay, now basically, I'm just going to say what I said to the parents. Yeah. Okay, but I just wanted to see if, you know, I was in line. So I said that, you know, basically when he's returning to the conversation after taking time and all that, he should just try, you know, to maybe to be more empathetic, you know, and just listen. And if, again, they're being unresponsive, you know, it should acknowledge, you know, the child's feelings. You know, just acknowledge his feelings just by listening. Because again, there has to be a bigger person. Let me use that, you know, word. And in this case, you seem to be the bigger person. You seem to be the one who is probably thinking at that point. Do you understand? You know, so I just said, oh, just make sure that, you know, you're listening. You don't need to make any comment. You don't need to contribute at that point. You don't need to say anything, you know, just listen and think about, use statements like, you know, how are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling. How do you think I need to help you? How should I communicate this to you? Or how would you like me to communicate this to you? Again, this kind of makes the person feel, you know, feel you're ready to listen to them. It doesn't make them feel like you're trying to judge them, irrespective of what it says, and then give them that space. Now, if they still remain very unresponsive, I said to him, I said, look, you know, give them the space. Allow them that space. Over time, they will calm down. Over time, they will calm down, you know, so just give them that space and then you can come back later and discuss it. Now, if they still refuse to, then maybe you can seek help from elsewhere.
All right. Thank you so much. I know you have answers. Right. Do you have additional contribution?
I think if this was to happen in my day job and a parent said that to a social worker, what I'll be saying is, first of all, acknowledge that when things were heightened, conversation didn't take place because that conversation would not be productive when things are heightened. So I would really commend that. And I will also say that to let them know that it is okay to it's okay for that conversation to take place another time. Yes. And also I would also let the parent know that the child can express their thoughts in different ways they want. In the sense, I don't mean in an aggressive way. I am saying that they offer that child to maybe send the text, send it by, I don't know, WhatsApp, whatever format, write it. Because we have children that prefer to just type everything to their parents. So that is an option. So consider their expression or different expression that they can name their emotion. If it's a battle that is not worth fighting, pick your battle carefully. If it's not something that is actually very significant, encourage that parent to leave it. But if it's something that is going to be detrimental to that child's safety, of course you want to have a conversation. It's not anything to do around ego, etc. Find bring a third party into the picture, maybe a relative or aunt, somebody to have that conversation with that child. But when things are heightened, it's not the time to speak. It's not the time to speak. So I would definitely praise that parent that didn't happen. Or maybe that's why that child didn't want to speak. If it's something not significant, it's better to leave it, pick your battle. If it's something that you can also encourage them to express their whatever their thought process in when they are ready in whatever format that child will prefer. And your support network is really crucial in this as well. Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent. Okay, Yubanji.
Okay, thanks. I think yes, you've answered it very correctly, and that parent actually did very well as well. But one thing I want to ask, I want to add to it is it's important we notice all of our children, they're all different and they've got diverse needs as well. So when it gets to, if it's about behavioral, we need to understand, so I saw a question about neurodiversity. Really, there are children that respond to situations and people differently. Some people can respond very quickly. Some people, it takes time for them to understand situations and to process things as well. So it's important for parents. We need to understand our children. I've got 4 children. They're all different, and for instance, my first daughter, she's very, very, responsive. She'll come if I pick them during the day. I ask them, "How was your day?" Blah blah blah, or whatever it is. I know the people that would respond very quickly, and I already know the people that would not respond immediately. And I've learned over time to give them space as well, and then go back to it later on. And I've also learned to explain to them why I do, because when my younger ones, the twins, when they were much younger, and I used to ask them every other day, and they would ask me, "Well, you ask us the same thing every day." Well, I had to learn from that to use another approach, open-ended questions, instead of asking them, "How was your day?" every single time. And so I learned from that as well. But then I also explained to them that why am I asking you these questions? Because I care, because I love you. I want to see if things went well for you in school. And so I let them understand where I was coming from as well. And I'm not just trying to bore you or anything. And I also learned to give them space, because my second daughter would not even, she would tell you, "Mommy, I'm tired. I'm not really, I've just had a very long day. I'm not in the mood to talk right now." And that's also fine, and do you understand why I'm asking? And I've understood to learn to give them space and come back to it. But it depends on what the situation and circumstances as well. For instance, if it's behavior, if it's a situation where they're in danger or endanger someone else, obviously actions need to be taken. And then it comes to also boundaries as well. When it comes to certain behaviors as well, there has to be boundaries in the home. Because you're an emotional, intelligent parent doesn't mean there shouldn't be boundaries in the home. Just like the way I see boundaries, like when we have work ethics at work, we've got boundaries. Schools have got boundaries as well. If you come to school late, and if you take your child to travel, you will be fined. For if you keep on coming to work late, maybe you'll be warned verbally. If you keep on doing it, probably you'll be warned with a letter. And if you keep on doing it, maybe you'll be fired. The same way, we need to allow our children to understand what boundaries are. And in our home, we should, have age-appropriate boundaries to, depending on what it is that they've done. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you have. Yeah, I know you're going to pick something there.
We've got some comments in the chat section that's contributed to the question that was asked. Those are pertinent contributions.
Okay, so
I don't know if you can see them.
is it the one from Fiona?
Yes, and Deborah.
Deborah's, okay, let's look at Deborah's comment. It's also imperative to consider neurodiverse children when having conversation. Yebanji just mentioned that. Thank you. I would also, Fiona is saying that I would also have that when the child is unresponsive, you acknowledge that it seems like you are not ready to talk about things right now. Okay. When it feels calmer for you, when it feels calmer for you, know that I'm here, all right, and you can revisit this again. All right, all right. I want to be, yeah, that's beautiful. Fiona, do you want to unmute and say something, or it's okay on this right up? Just let me know. You can raise your hand. Okay, that's fine. Thank you for those contributions. Let me read this. I don't know if everybody see. Okay, I think everybody can read it anyway. Okay. Fumi is also emphasize that okay. So Fumi saying emphasize that your goal is to understand each other better rather than win the argument. True. encourage them to suggest a time they would prefer to talk, correct? If the pattern of unresponsiveness continues, it may be a sign that exploring communication tools together or with professional support could strengthen your relationship and resolve conflict more effectively. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I mean, keep writing them. Thank you so much. All right. I'm conscious of my time. Let me move to parenting styles. I'm not sure I've done enough justice to this topic. I think I've got a lot of topics, other questions that would drive this conversation. All right, let's go to parenting style. Or do you want me to have a pause?
Absolutely. Is in parenting style. This is what
Okay,
we do a lot in social work. It's
okay.
really important to always still touch upon parenting style, because parenting style have a whole lot to play in how we parent our children, and also children with neurodevelopmental needs. And also if you're from a two-parent household, parents also have different parenting styles. Sometimes requires a lot of emotional intelligence. So I think it'll be good to touch base on it, actually.
Yeah, excellent. So let's look at, of course, there are various parenting styles, right? And I know we have one of them that we all would like to model for the family at all time. Who wants to, Funke, do you want to just take it away on the
Okay.
and how that affect our emotional development in children?
So when it comes to parenting style, one thing that every parent needs to realize is you're usually influenced by how you were parented automatically. But by the grace of God, some of you've obviously relearned, unlearned. You've learned different ways how you should be managing your children, and also their individual peculiarity. So when it comes to parenting style, we've got the authoritarian parenting style. That means that you're telling your children, your young person, you do as you are told. You don't argue. You don't even need to explain anything to them. You do as you're told. If I tell you something, you do. You don't really unpick why you're saying something. So you start thinking, is that your style of parenting? How are you embedding emotional intelligence into that? Then we've also got permissive parenting. Permissive parenting is you allow your child to do whatever they want. You're not actually teaching them, equipping them, giving them any strategy. You just leave them. And what usually happens is the end goal of this child is not usually positive, because they've not had that role modeling, they've not had that teaching, they've not had that any parents equipping them or carers. So that is permissive parenting. And then we have the assertive parenting. Assertive parenting is assertive parenting takes time to teach their children. You can do this because we are doing this, because I am exploring this, because you can't do this because. So assertive parents also bring in what we call the two hands of parenting, connecting and correction. So, and that is obviously psychologically sort of background break. So assertive parent connects with their children to let them know, oh, why we're doing this, where we're doing that. So while they're connecting with their children, exploring things, they will then be able to correct and then say, oh, I'm correcting this, or I'm saying that because. So it's really important as parent for you to, there will be time that you have to obviously put authoritarian in for safety reason, for something that you know better why you're doing that. But it's really important for us to really consider the use of assertive parenting in our style of parenting to connect and connect with our children before you can start correcting children, or you need to connect. Connection will help you to self-manage. Manage your children's emotion, teach them a lot of things when you connect with them, when you explain why. So I really want to encourage parents to really look into assertive way of parenting. If it's not something you were brought up in, or your significant other doesn't practice, why don't you take time out to explore your style of parenting? I'm sure there'll be quizzes online that you can look into. Permissive parenting is not something that I really recommend of you doing as you want. So that is really my thoughts around parenting style: authoritarian, permissive, and assertive. I hope I've been able to explain that for you to know and the two hands of parenting that embed the assertive. I know assertive sounds like a strong word, but actually it's got a lot of strength into it.
Okay, so I'm sure Banji will have something to add, but let me look at this. Now, I'm a father, I'm an uncle. Now, at the time, I discovered that some children, okay, some of them, they really, some like me. Why there's some certain set of children in a family, they don't like me. Okay. Now, because when I visit them, this set of children who I feel they don't really like me or love me, because I'm always, anytime I come around, oh, it's always like someone who is always, I'm too serious. Okay. I'm come with this seriousness cap. What have you done today? What are you learning? What have you studied? And all of that. Okay. I don't really play with them. Maybe when I play, I do sometimes. Now, and this other set of guys, young children, anytime I go there, I don't put my seriousness cap on. I just play. And I discover that this set of children like me so much. And anytime not that they miss me, they say, or sometimes I could hear their mom or they say, oh, Austin, blah, blah, blah. I like, so when I check both sides, I say, okay, it looks like this one likes me and this one doesn't. And the truth is that I know that the ones who don't like me, I'm telling them the truth. Okay? They are going to grow. I'm telling them the right thing, what would make them to grow up in life. And if you put those two models, bring them together in a family, in the house, I think we should be able to strike a balance. All right? If you have a child or your children, there are two parents in the house. Maybe the mom is so nice and kind, buy the children stuff. The dad is always hard and harsh. He won't buy anything. He's always serious and all of that. Which part, I'm sure, both are not, the two extremes are not good, isn't it? And then let's talk about this. What should I be doing as a parent? Okay. Especially in a home where there's a father and a mother, and they are trying to win the child over. You discover that parent that buys the stuff, that show them love, take them out, they don't force them to study their book. That child will always want that parent around. But the other one, have you studied? Have you done your homework? Have you done your assignment? Have you done this? The child, they are not, you can check it. Okay. They are not, the children are always not happy when such parent is around. Let's talk about this balance. Ibanji, you can add to this parenting style.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all you've all shared. And my own where I'm gonna come from the perception of us as individuals and looking from a child's childhood and who they become in future, yeah, their personality and all of that.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna talk about three concepts and from there I'll move forward, yeah. Before I start, I would like to say there's no manual to parenting. Honestly, when our children are born, they don't come with any manual that this is the guide. If you do this one step, that is you've got it all right. No, there's no manual to parenting. So I want us to be kind to ourselves as we're talking about all of these things, So self-concept, that's the first one I'll talk about. The self-concept is how a person sees themselves. This includes their thoughts, their beliefs, feelings about who they are. It's shared by personal experience, interactions with others, and how we think people view us. For example, if someone believes they are kind, smart, and helpful, those qualities become part of their self-concept. Now, the condition of worth. The condition of worth of the person, they are the expectations or standards we believe we need to meet to earn others' approval, acceptance, or love. These often comes from family, friends, or society. Like if you need to succeed in school, then if you succeed in school, then you'll be valued. Then, or being helpful makes you a good person. Or when we internalize these things, we may start acting in ways to meet these conditions of work. trying to meet other people's standard to, and expectations, and not being ourselves. Now, locus of evaluation, that's the last thing I'm going to talk about. Now, the locus of evaluation is about where we look for approval or judgment, either internally or externally. An internal locus means we trust our own feelings, our beliefs, and values to decide our worth, actions, or what are our actions. And someone that has got an external locus of evaluation, it means that they rely on other people's opinion, feedback, or approval to feel validated. So ideally, it's important to have it's good to have, when someone has an internal locus of evaluation, that means they're authentic, that they're true selves. Yeah. And where all this is leading to is because all of these concepts leads to how we view ourselves, how we see ourselves, and that all starts from childhood. I think was it Funke that spoke about a lot that a lot of parents parent because of how they've been parented as well. Yeah. Now, what I would say is I know about the authoritative parenting, the assertive parenting, permissive parenting, the neglected parenting, and all of that. And those are very, very important parenting styles. But the assertive one, to be an assertive parent, what do you need to be an assertive parent? What are the qualities of an assertive parent? The qualities I would say of an assertive parent is some things that we've spoken about today already. In fact, everything we've spoken about today already. Being empathic, being able to listen actively to our children, tuning into our own children's emotions without immediately trying to fix the situation. Because really, we parents, we are modeled to be fixers. We're always in the headspace. We don't go to the heart. When something happens, it's the head. How are we going to deal with this? What's going to happen? But we don't sit with the heart. But there are processes to these things. And we need to be able to calm down, slow down, and work things through. So we need to do that by listening actively to our children, sometimes putting ourselves in their own shoes. We were children before, and we know some things that our parents did that probably we did not appreciate, or some ways they trained us that we did not really like. We should think about that. With these children, we should try and put ourselves in their situation as well, sometimes in their shoes, and remember when we were children as well. Then also validating feelings. We should be able to validate our children's feelings, that this is important, and give them opportunity to ask questions, give them the opportunity to think through things as well, be able to provide solutions as well. That's us empowering them. So I think that's my opinion about this topic. I don't know if it's been able to answer the question as well about, balancing parenting and all that. I think balancing is being able to be empathic, listen, before you respond as well. No one is saying don't share your own views and all of that, but being able to hold on our R's, try and understand, then, okay, what are we going to do about it? Working together.
Excellent. Okay, Funke, you want to have something?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to emphasize that in order to be able to do this whole active listening, being empathic, especially parent, like you were saying, you've got to connect with their children. Connection brings all this teaching, all this being empathic, listening, everything you want to teach them. Of course, while you're building that connection, boundaries will be blurred. The children may think they may get away with things. That's where the authoritarian will come in. When you have that connection with your children, you are intentional to build that connection. And this is not peculiar to only the female gender, building that connection. Both male, female, building that connection. You'll be able to teach children values. You'll be able to, where you need to be firm, you become firm, and the children will actually listen to you. But the things they don't listen, it's not like the children will listen automatically. Using that connection, you'll be able to observe their body language, their reaction. But that is because you are building that connection. But if you don't build connection, if you don't connect with your children, you just do authoritarian. The children do as you are told. They wouldn't really understand why you are saying those things. That's why we have children sometimes that rebel when they are out of their parents for the four walls of the house, because the why wasn't really taught. It is this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it. In fact, children will end up doing things that the parents today they don't know about because of the authoritarian only style of parenting. But that connection, you'll be able to, when you connect with your children, it doesn't mean you are not a serious person, because I know that's also a barrier that, oh, they're not going to take me seriously. If I start playing with them, if I go on holiday with them, they will not take me seriously, that kind of thing. If I maybe just play on, I don't know, some children, they love their Xbox, they love their PlayStation. Please relax, connect with your children. You can teach so many things when you're connecting with them. Take them out for sport, take them on holiday, take them for ice cream parlor or something. I'm not saying break the bank. Well, I don't mean that literally. I mean, don't you don't need to spend significant to just connect with your child. I think that way, all these emotional intelligent children will be observing you. You will also be able to teach them. So that is something I want people to take away. The two hands of parenting, connecting with your children is really key. A lot of learning, modeling, observation can be learned that way, and the correction can then start kicking in.
Super, super. Thank you very much. I hear the word boundaries. I think Yebanji mentioned it when she was before this last question. Funke also mentioned it right now. The word boundaries. Let's learn as parents to set those boundaries. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm coming to the end of it's 11:30. Yeah, to the end of this meeting. If you have contribution in the house, please feel free to mute yourself to speak to us. Anybody? All right. Okay, while we're waiting for contributions. Okay, I think I've seen contribution here. Permissive style of parenting needs to be used with sparingly, with boundaries to maintain. Be used sparingly, okay, to be used sparingly, with boundaries to maintain a sense of structure. Parents need to tailor these approaches to each child's unique needs, balance of warmth and structure. Okay, clear expectations, modern healthy emotional regulation, ultimately cultivate emotional intelligence. Both parents and children lead to stronger relationships. Okay. Yeah. Give them hugs. Yeah. Go out. Yeah. Spend time with them. All right. Thank you. I hear be present. Let's be present as parents. Be present. There are some parents, they are working from home, both parents work from home, but they are so busy that it's better for them to work in the office, all right, and come back home and have time for the children. But they are so busy, they work from home, they can work from the morning to 10 p.m. They only have space to pick up the child from school, take them to school, bring them back home. Okay. There's no family time. That's not really good. Let's try as much as we can to have that family time together. We have to be intentional. I'm reading that. Be intentional. We have to be intentional. All right. Making sure that we spend quality time together. Quality time together. The last meeting we had, I talked about reading. Let's read books together. All right. Share if you have a smart screen, beautiful. Do a screen sharing, or what do you call it? Share your whatever to the screen. Okay. Put the book to the screen. All right. Now read together. Right. Let the child make contribution. Allow them. Let them be heard. When they make contribution, try as much as possible, to echo what they've said. All right. That helps their self-esteem. They are making good contribution. And you'll be surprised that in class as well, that will help them. Okay. When in the midst of their friends, they're able to make positive contribution. They are confident contributors. All right. It will grow with them. When they get to the workplace as well, they are confident. It doesn't matter the number of people, whether they are 200 or 1,000 people, they are able to speak. All right. And we need to model this from the home. All right. When one spouse is speaking, the husband is speaking, the wife learn to listen. Okay. Encourage the other. The wife is speaking, husband learn to keep short. Okay. Reduce to the barest minimum your interruption. Don't interrupt them when they are speaking. Allow them to make their point. It's very, very good. Okay. And we can go on and on and on this topic. Really, really. Do you have something to add before
I completely agree with you. I wanted to say, I think Fiona, I don't know if it's Sister Fumi or Fiona's comment, because the signature of that writing says Fiona.
It's Fiona.
I think it's Fiona that I might know. If that's it, please put a comment. She's an adoption team manager. She works in adoption service. If you're the one, please put a comment there. So Fiona put a comment about PACE parenting. Yes, PACE parenting is something that we promote in social work. PACE is evidence-based. So it is about playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and empathy. So as we're parenting our children, it's always good to look at the PACE approach. That curiosity, you're curious about what the children are doing. You're curious in your choice about, oh, I'm curious about this. Tell me more. You don't conclude straight away. You're curious to unpick situation. Playfulness, bring in that. Don't be 100% serious. Dad, mom, play with the children, your young person, etc. Acceptance also talks about accepting the uniqueness of each child. Your child cannot be their niece, their cousin, your niece, etc. You must accept the peculiarity of your household, of your children, and showing empathy. So yeah, that I suspect that's the Fiona that I know anyway. So that is the PACE approach into parenting. PACE approach. Yeah, she put that in the comment section. I just wanted to highlight that.
Okay, then thank you, Stephen. I wanted to just add, fine, before we finish, that connection is so important, because when you connect with your children, you're able to notice when there's a change in their behavior. Maybe a child that usually is very talkative is becoming more withdrawn. Then those are the times you need to. In fact, before then, when you have a good relationship, you would notice and you can take action. But when you start really noticing symptoms in your children that child, the behavior is different, or they want to be more secluded in their room, then you need to seek help. Probably try and help that child, or try and ask for help externally as well. Talk to your children's schools. There's Senko, Send, CAMS, all of that. There's a lot of help out there. But I know a lot of people are reluctant to seek for help, but it's good you're able to seek for that help, because when you seek for that help, you're supporting that child, and giving them what they need. Early intervention is very, very important before it escalates. Go to your GPs, ask questions. No question is a stupid question. If you notice anything, talk to that child about it. Ask questions, So ask for help, but that's the main thing. But then if there are other kind of thoughts, maybe suicidal thoughts, self-harming, all of those things, it's there, it happens. Children go through all of those things because for a reason. We should be able to have those open conversation about things like that. Ask questions, ask for help, seek help.
Yeah, right. Ask for help, seek help, be curious, curiosity, acceptance, playfulness. There's a lot of words, right, out here. Now, these are not textbook, they are not theoretical, these are practical living. Okay, we need to live it as parents, and those of us that are upcoming parents, expectant parent, even young people listening to this right now. Okay, these are practical ways of how we can develop emotional intelligence as parents. Practical. And let's keep it up. I can see here, avoid negative attention. Redirect focus away from negative behavior. True. All right. You recognize, as parents, recognize them. Redirect those attention away from negative attention. Okay, I can see a nurturing approach as well, emphasizing their strength, rather than weaknesses. Recognize positive behavior. You know what? A lot is coming to head right now. I'm not the guest speaker. I'm the host, and I've listened to what my speaker have said. They've said a whole lot today, and contribution. Thank you for everyone that have contributed, and everyone that stayed to this point with us, and those that will be listening. And we also want to say thank you to Kabod Chapel, Pastor Sam Ayorinde, and Prof behind the scene, Professor Bimbo. Thank you so much for this time. I want to say a special special, special thank you to Yebanji. Thank you for your time, okay? For giving us this time to talk. We appreciate this. We say thank you, Eshe, you know. Pastor Funke, thank you so much for your time and your contribution. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's all I can say. All right. Thank you. Ade and everybody. Ola, Nike, Adebisi, Fumi, my 11 plus mentor, Fiona, Amos, Deborah, Caroline, Mommy. Where's Mommy? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next month, I think. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
time.
It's been lovely being a part of this. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Take care. Have a good afternoon. God bless and a great weekend.